it's Month of the Military Child. Yay! I'm so excited. It's my favorite month of the year. So we are just happy to have you join us today to kick off this month. We have a lot of stuff going on, very excited. And so just going to give people a few minutes and then we'll get started. How's everybody doing today? Well, I'm doing well.
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. I'm very grateful to be here.
Oh, Florida, how nice.
Ah!
That's wonderful. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started because we have a very full schedule today. I'm really excited. As I said, it's Month of the Military Child, so we are in full celebration mode now. Usually outside of COVID, we'll do between 5 and 7 in-person events during the month. This year, it's still about 5 or 7 events, but most will be virtual. But today we are excited to have as our guest Sesame Workshop and have them kick off Month of the Military Child with us, and have Brenda here, who you'll hear from in just a few minutes. We love Sesame. I personally love Sesame. I grew up as a Sesame child, Sesame Street, and just always have appreciated how it is from that child's perspective, really thinking about the child and how they may be perceiving the world from their view. And so when, I guess it's been over 15 years now that they have really focused on and had programming for military children and families. I remember with my own kids watching Talk, Listen, and Connect, and it was such a great way and resource for my kids to understand what was going on, being a part of our family. And so the whole point of the Foundation's Conversations, which is what this is, and what we're working towards, is to really identify, where there are gaps in services for military children and really great resources, and how we can continue to build our network of care for them. And so this Sesame and this program is such a natural segue, to this conversation. So I'd like to introduce Brenda. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, everyone. So nice to be here.
And I'm going to actually turn it over to you because you have so much to share today, and I'm really to kind of get excited to get into it because it's a topic area that we haven't talked about much yet, and so I think it's meaningful, and I know it's a newer program for you guys as well. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be here today. So I'm going to share my screen with you. So hello, and thank you for joining the team at Sesame Workshop today for today's conversation on our exciting topic for Sesame Street families called Sesame Street for Military Families. In Ready, Set, Healthy, we'll be sharing some of our newest assets related to transitions in healthcare and explore some of the unique ways that you'll be able to integrate these resources into your work with children, parents, and providers. After getting a chance to learn about all the people joining us on today's webinar, we'll move from introductions into a quick overview of Sesame Street for Military Families, our outreach tool that helps military families and their young children cope with the challenges of deployment and build in resilience in times of separation and change. The focal point for today's conversation will be on our newest topic, TIH, or Transitions in Healthcare. We are excited to share some of the unique resources that parents, providers, and children can use as they PCS to new settings and adjust to different medical teams. Finally, we'll close out today's conversation with a Q&A, links to additional resources, and ways that we can stay in touch. So hello, everyone. My name is Brenda Windhausen, and I have been a preschool teacher since 1990, both with the Department of Education in Derby Line, Vermont on the Canadian border, and a coach in the Bronx and in Harlem and New York City for Children's Aid. These past 2 years, I've been an education director and now a professional trainer for Sesame Workshop's social impact team. Let's take a moment to learn about you. Please share in the chat who you are and where you're from.
And while we're doing that, I just want to say, I mean, I so appreciate this topic area. I'll share about me. I was a military spouse for 17 years. And when we would go from duty station to duty station, I never even considered that or thought much about that we had to find all new healthcare options every single time that we moved, and would have to get all of our paperwork and our medical records and and that kind of thing together. And then my younger daughter is in part of the Exceptional Family Members program, and so some of her health considerations are part of that. So I mean, I just think that this is a wonderful resource, especially with people with younger children that are maybe new service members with young families, to have this as a resource. So I'm really excited.
Yes, feel free to unmute yourself if you would like to introduce yourself, or you can put it in the chat. That's up to you. But we're just so happy you're all here today to join in this conversation. So why do we do this? We know that when a parent serves in the military, the entire family is serving. And there really have not always been many resources out there to support the whole family, especially when keeping young children in mind. That's where Sesame Street comes in. Sesame Street for Military Families was launched in 2006 to support our military families with young children ages 2 to 5, with all the milestones of their life. When Sesame decided to address this need post 9/11, it was a response to the fact that there were about 700,000 military children under the age of 5. It was the largest and longest deployment since World War II. And there were very few resources for young children and virtually nothing in Spanish. As the project evolved over the years, an overall goal remained constant: to address the ongoing needs unique to military children and families related to their experiences and transitions. We wanted to address and reduce the level of anxiety that they may experience, help them gain an understanding of what they're experiencing, and reassure them that they are loved and safe. So what's on the site today? Currently, we cover 10 topic areas with over 200 activities in English and in Spanish. The site is adult-facing and primarily for parents and caregivers. There are 6 pages that tackle the milestones of military life, like deployments, relocation, and homecomings, and there are 4 additional topics that address everyday challenges that military kids and families face, like health and wellness and birthdays. For example, how can a family prepare for a military child's birthday when you know that a parent is deployed? So each topic page includes an intro to the topic page and what's to come, a carousel of videos, Some videos star our furry-friendly Muppets and are especially fun for kids. And some other videos are geared for adults. We have PDFs that are all available for download and complement the videos and other resources on the page. There are interactive games to bring concepts to life and to just play and have fun. And we have parent articles, which are so helpful. These tie everything back together and provide those tips and strategies to address this topic with young children. So what are some of the challenges that military families face when PSSing? Before sharing out the resources related to transitions in healthcare, let's take a moment to reflect on the expertise and experience of all of you joining us today. As you reflect on your work and your experiences, what are some of the challenges that you face when completing a permanent change of status? Please share in the chat. Or unmute yourself and please share. It's up to you, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, finding new doctors, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you have an exceptional family member, that's dealing with some medical challenges, because sometimes you need a team of doctors. And so
Right.
finding, the right doctors to address some of those needs, that for sure is a huge one.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Schools with experience, absolutely. Not having a home yet, finding safe and reliable childcare. I remember when I was teaching in Derby Line, and this was post 9/11, we had some families from Texas that had been deployed in Derby Line at the border of Canada and Vermont. And I had a couple of children in my preschool at that time that were getting some services, some speech and language services. And so, that was one of the things that I helped the families with. That came to my center was to connect them with those services for their children. And it was very anxiety provoking for them.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
And I think that because we move all over the country, I mean, you figure that there are all over the world, and there are military kids in every single zip code, that the network that's needed, to transfer from one place to another, they don't always communicate. And so,
right.
Not having that smooth transition because of your location can be such a big challenge. Resources that were available to you in one area may not even be known in the next area that you go to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So before sharing out the resources related to transitions in healthcare, let's take a moment. Oh, we did that already. I'm sorry. So now, in our research and conversations with parents and military families and healthcare providers, we learned about several challenges that are unique, but often all happen at the same time. And these include things like starting over, finding new healthcare providers in a different setting, updating new providers on family medical needs, the stress of relocation, and anxiety that comes with finding a new doctor, explaining to children the similarities and differences between, say, healthcare professionals on a base as opposed to in civilian settings. The shortage of providers sometimes, depending on which state you're going into, a slow transfer of records that can be very, very difficult and frustrating, booking appointments, navigating insurance and benefits and that whole process, and just the lack of support or awareness of new communities and what they have to offer in these new settings. So that's a lot, and I'm sure that's just a small tip of the iceberg, right? About families are experiencing. Military families experience this permanent change of status every 2 to 3 years. And so each time, families must plan ahead and work with members of old and new communities to make the switch smooth. One aspect of a move that can be especially tricky is continuing those health services. So collecting records, finding new medical teams, sharing information, and exploring health resources in a new setting can take a lot of time and energy that are always needed, but hard to find when making a new home. Sesame is so excited to be along for the ride to help make sure all of our kids grow stronger, smarter, and kinder in these new spaces. So our new engaging assets will center around a family's preparation and coordination of care between on-base and civilian providers to help families prepare for health-related transitions, learn of techniques to support family experiences, and give children creative ways to explore feelings related to moving. With the new resources we will share with you, we have three main goals. New challenges can be minimized with careful preparation. Survey and research gathered from focus groups reflected that if we can provide a stepped process or a checklist, families that are PCSing can anticipate aspects of their medical move that might take a little longer, and then they can begin earlier. Things like gathering medical files from old providers, researching where to find new ones, can all help with that, step in that right direction of reestablishing healthy communities in new settings. Children can move with confidence to new medical settings. That's another goal. And so when they have a role and they understand the process, children are more than patients. In an effort to show children that, number one, it's okay to have feelings associated with new medical settings, we're also giving them a role to play. Interactive games and fun questionnaires give children a change to digitally explore their new medical settings, and also share printable resources with new medical teams so that they can understand the important role that they play in maintaining their own health. And the third goal is that we can ask for help when we know that we need what we need from experts around us. So it's hard to ask for help when you don't know what you need. But when you do know what you need and there are experts around, then it's a lot easier to get that help that you need. So it became evidently clear in our conversations with military families that they wanted to share resources and lessons learned so that others could transition smoothly. And that's the power of community and connection, right? People
Absolutely.
with experiences sharing with others to help. So it was this information that helped us draft the content related to the topics and the type of articles that we wrote. So from questions and answers about a new dentist to where to find the best medical team in your neighborhood, military families have shared their tips and tricks on how to stay healthy. So let's watch, excuse me, this short, cute video, and
There are a lot of ways that doctors
switch to YouTube so that we can see it.
This foundation covers everything, but it still looks like skin. Insane.
ways that doctors check to make sure military families are healthy. A positive experience on a doctor's visit can go a long way in helping military.
I apologize, I forgot to do a new share, but I'm gonna.
Positive experience on a doctor's visit can go a long way in helping military kids when it's time to meet a new healthcare provider.
Okay, whoops. Okay. Oops, I forgot to go back to the deck. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at this interactive game. If you would like to, if you have another device, you could go on SS for military families, so it'd be SS4MF. And I think, yes, Kayla put it in the chat. So now what we're going to do is go to that game, and I'll show you. Let's see, it's right here. Okay, so this is a game called Visiting the Doctor.
Sesame Street, Visiting the Doctor.
Okay?
To start, press the play button.
Okay. So Visiting the Doctor, then you press this little button.
Let's help a friend get ready for a visit to the doctor. Choose a friend to take to the doctor.
And then you click on the little check mark.
Your friend is visiting a new doctor today, and it's almost time to go. Let's play until it's time to leave. Click around to explore the living room.
Are kind of moving, so then you know that those are the things you can click on.
Looks like it's time to go. Go ahead. Click on the door to go to the doctor's office. How do you think our friend is feeling about going to the doctor? Afraid, nervous, curious, calm, happy. It's okay to feel nervous about going to the doctor sometimes. Remember, doctors are there to make you feel better. Okay, let's go visit the doctor and check back later. The waiting room. This is where you wait before you meet the doctor and the nurses. Click around to explore the waiting room. A mask can help everyone stay healthy. It's time to go in to see the doctor. Click the door to go see the doctor. The exam room. The doctor checks you out to see if you're sick or to make sure you're healthy. Click around to explore the exam room. The stethoscope helps the doctor listen to your heart. This is where you sit, so the doctor can examine you. The eye chart tests how well you can see. A mask can help everyone stay healthy. Checkup complete. Click the door to go to the pharmacy. The pharmacy. This is where you pick up the medicine the doctor prescribes for you. Click around to explore the pharmacy. Pharmacies have lots of things to help you get better. A mask can help everyone stay healthy. Pharmacists help make sure you're getting the right medicine. There are lots of things to look at while you wait for your medicine. We've got the medicine, now let's go home. How do you think our friend feels about the doctor now? Afraid, nervous, curious, calm, happy. Your friend feels happy after their visit to the doctor. Remember, doctors help keep you healthy and strong. Let's play again. Choose a friend to take to the doctor.
Okay. I hope you enjoyed that game. So that's something that that you can do with your children, or you can share with families that you're working with. And it's a really fun game. So children, after they select the avatar, then they play around on that game. And what I like about it is that it goes through the whole sequence of getting ready to go to the doctor, and then going to the doctor and what you see there, and then going to the pharmacy after. So it's like this whole sequence. So I think that's really important.
And Brenda, I just want to hop in. I mean, I think what's so important about what you're sharing here, and one of the things that I love so much, is that you're giving kids the power to have some input into what's going on in their lives. I think that because they don't get a lot of choice on, maybe where they're moving or the things that are happening, to give them some sense of kind of opportunity to be a part of the situation, and it takes some of the fear out. So I think it's really wonderful to not only have this information for the providers and the parents, but have a kid component that engages them as well.
Absolutely. And kids, so much is not in their control.
Absolutely.
And so it's so important that we're able to give kids some control when we can. And because it's so scary not having control of what's happening around you, and all of that anxiety that can go with it. And at least with adults, we kind of understand what some of these emotions that we're feeling are about, and children don't necessarily understand all the physical things that happen to their bodies when they're feeling different emotions.
Right. We talked about this in another session, that the anxiety might present as a headache or a bellyache, and
Right.
those kinds of things, and being able to have confidence around their health care and teaching them that at a young age. I would think that it would help them as they get older and going to the doctor to be aware of what's happening in their bodies and be able to have better conversations with their healthcare providers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear from folks, any of your thoughts related to any of these resources so far. Do you think they would be helpful to you?
I'll hop in here. I apologize. I'm a little under the weather. My name's Jordan. As a mom of younger kids, my daughter here has been wearing glasses since a year old and looking for resources like online and different things for exactly what you've created, and trying to
in preschool.
Okay, go sit. I apologize.
Good for you.
Hold on, I'm gonna talk for a second, okay? Finding videos and things of what an eye doctor does, or what this doctor does on base, and what they're gonna walk through to check up and things and stuff like that. So now you've created a game not only where they can explore and touch and learn about the different things that they're gonna see on the wall and they're gonna be asked to do, but even the extra step of waiting at the pharmacy, you're sitting there, what do these things do, and what is the pharmacy?
Right.
I think it's huge. I know I've already texted like 5 different people, like, you need to see this, because this is a game changer for our kids.
Wonderful.
Especially
Yes.
because we've lived in 5 different states and such, and so each doctor's office is different. So each time I'm trying, so something like this that gives them the power to explore and learn on their own and know what to expect, because my kids really appreciate that heads up, and this is what we're going to do, and this is a walkthrough, and it's going to be cool, and I promise, and afterwards,
Yes.
stuff like that. This is huge. It's I'm sorry, as a mom, I think this is huge. So
Wonderful. We're so happy to hear that. And you bring up a good point too, because every doctor's office is different, right? And yet there are some things that are the same. And so those are the things that are important to focus on with kids, are the things that will be the same. So every doctor will have a stethoscope to check your heart. they will have the same tools. The environment might look different, the people might look different, but the tools that they're going to use are the same. And the reasons for why they're using the tools will be the same. And so I think it's really important for kids and families, right, to have some consistency,
Yeah.
to grab onto.
And I feel it becomes
Especially,
less scary.
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when there's already so many changes going on, and I've been moved and I'm in this new place, a new friend thing, and be like, hey, these are all the things that are the same. You know, this is what
Right.
you're going to expect, and they're still going to do that there. And that's from, you know,
Yep.
it's huge. I love it. Sorry. It's huge.
That's great. Thank you. No, don't apologize. We're really happy that you find these helpful, these resources. Thank you so much for sharing.
So we have a question in the chat, Brenda. What has the response been from providers, professionals in regards to the resources that Sesame Workshop has created to help with transition?
Yes, providers love to have these resources. You know, it's like you were saying, it's really hard to find videos. It's really hard to find resources to help with transitions, and especially that are developmentally appropriate for the age group of children that we're talking about, right? Your preschooler, Ellie, you know, she's at that age that, you know, she has a lot of questions, and she needs answers and told to her in developmentally appropriate ways so that she can understand, right? And so that's what Sesame Street is so good at, is reaching children wherever they're at, and families. So important. So thank you. Okay, so let's go back. I have a few more resources to share with you here. Okay, so the principles are really great too. So we've created 5 printable resources for transitions in healthcare. So these fun pages can easily be printed out so that children can anticipate and explore the best ways to prepare for a new medical team. So that if we go left to right, the one that's after my doctor's visit, it's a great coloring page that children can finish after returning from a doctor's appointment and place on the refrigerator or in their room to remind them of the bravery before the next one. Then the page underneath, the Getting to Know You, was created so that both children and their parents could share information about what their needs are, their likes, their dislikes, with a new medical provider. And we think of this page as a great conversation starter between a child and a doctor. And then the middle 2 pages, a colorful checkup and visiting the doctor, provide children with some exposure to what new medical settings may include. While both detail the look of a medical office, the visiting the doctor page suggests the path and different steps families like yours might take and move to get from one medical home to the next. And then finally, the My New Doctor page is a quick story about Rosita meeting her new doctor. Children will love to color these pages and talk about how their own experiences are similar and distinct from theirs. One of the things that I've noticed over the years in teaching preschoolers is, you know, sometimes preschool programs discourage these kinds of ditto sheets and coloring them because they want, you know, a more project approach to their curriculum, which is fine, which is great. I have always found that to be important, and also coloring pages for kids, because you know what? Just simply sitting and coloring is very therapeutic to the brain. It's very calming. And I found that when children are engaged in these kinds of activities where it's calming and they're coloring and they're exploring that sensory experience of coloring, the conversations come out, their thoughts come out, because when children are coloring and doing, they're also thinking. And children talk when they think. They just naturally do. So I find it's really important that these coloring pages can also be very therapeutic in getting kids to just even talk about what's going on and what their fears are, what their anxieties might be, and also what their successes are, which is always really important to celebrate. And going to the doctor can be very challenging. And when a child is completed that process, it should be celebrated. The family should celebrate because it is a huge thing. So we hope that you enjoy these fun printables and coloring pages. So another piece to what we do with Sesame Street for Military Families are these final asset on articles that we've created for parents. So if you can see it well enough, if you want to take a few minutes and just read this article, and then we can talk about it. Are you able to see it okay? Yeah. Yeah, so take a few minutes, take a look at it, and then we'll have a conversation. Thank you, Kayla. So some of the key features of the articles that we share are that they're short and sweet and to the point, which is really important for busy families. They come from subject matter experts, which is also really important. We need to have resources that are reliable, and they're in rolling order. So the 4 articles that we created for this topic include Switching Smoothly, which is a fun list of data gathered from families about the ways that they minimized stress and included children in the moving process. Ready to Roll, which is gathering of best practices from medical providers on how to set up children for success when PCSing. And then we've created Mindful Moving as a checklist, which is bucketed with windows of time to help parents organize pieces of a move. When to reach out to all medical providers, contact insurance, and etc. And the last 2 articles on dental appointments and preparing for a visit explore these situations through this perspective of a child and with developmentally appropriate resources. So we wanted to share some additional resources with you today as well. Our Big Moving Adventure app on the relocation page, and also 2 new articles on the family wellness page. So check these out when you have a chance. Healing Hands and Practicing Self-Care. These are some of the additional resources for you. So we would love to have your help in continuing our efforts to build awareness around these resources. Please help us spread the word about Sesame Street for Military Families. www.ssfm.org. 4mf.org, particularly the new Transitions in Healthcare page. Follow us on Facebook. We have over 100,000 friends. Connect with us and let us know how we can help raise awareness about these resources for military families. And thank you, Ellie, for sharing today with your friends already. So, are there any questions that anyone has before we close out today?
So there was another, Brenda, there's another question in the chat. In addition to the online resources, are there any outreach training opportunities? Hopefully I lost my chat.
Yeah,
yeah, for parents.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm not sure about outreach training opportunities. I'm not sure if another Sesame Workshop member is on the call with us today that might be able to answer that question. But we can certainly get back to you, Kelsey.
Okay.
And perhaps you can answer that question. I know that on Sesame Street workshop on the sesamestreet.org website, there are a lot of workshops and training opportunities for providers. And what I'm not sure about are about training opportunities for parents, but we can find out. Any other questions? Or any thoughts or wonderings anybody has? Anything you might want to share before we close out? I really appreciate you being here today and allowing me to enter your homes and joining this call today.
Yeah, can you hear me? I know
Yes.
My internet is very spotty in my office.
Yes, we can hear you, Kelsey.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, I'm sideways again. let me fix myself. I mean, I just will say that we are so grateful to have, you and Sesame Workshop join us and really learn about, because this is, again, Ellie, were you did you say your name is Jordan and it's Ellie on your
Yes, my daughter's doing virtual school, so my Zoom is always set up as her.
Oh, okay.
So my daughter's name is Ellie,
that.
but I'm actually Jordan, but that's okay because I'm only about 50% sure I know how to change it, and I don't want to change it back when she has school tomorrow. So we're just gonna.
But Jordan, I mean, to your point, I don't think that these for sure weren't resources, obviously, because they're new, that were out when my kids were little. I mean, mine are 17 and 19 now, and they would have been really helpful to share, both from the parent side, and again, to your point, for the kids, to give them some control in it and some, way to really understand what's going on. So I just want to say again how appreciative I am that you're joining us today, but that this was even something that you guys came up with and thought through. And I know that I really appreciate how much I know Sesame takes time to really research and think through and talk to our families to find out, and get some real data from that. So thank you, Brenda, so much for joining us today, and everybody on Sesame's team that is joining us as well. And if there are any additional questions we'd be happy to any additional questions. Just say, I do have one question, Brenda, and I don't know if this is something that you know. Are you seeing with doing this research that there starting to be more connectivity between providers and helping with transition? I mean, is that something that you're seeing within the provider community?
I think so. I mean, I haven't been doing this for very long with Sesame. However, that is what I'm hearing from other people on the team, that the network is growing and growing and growing. And it's kind of like a ripple effect. You know, you drop that pebble in and it just ripples outward, and we're just really hoping that continues. And so the more people that, you know, are on these calls, and then sharing what we're sharing with you all, it gets the word out there, and it's a positive thing.
Yeah, we're doing one of our upcoming sessions later this year is going to be with mental health providers, so counselors and that kind of thing. And one who will come from the perspective of being a civilian as a provider that sees military families, and then another who has military background, so understands the culture and kind of how that works. Because I said previously that military children can't be seen at the VA for mental health. They are sent out into civilian communities. So if there's kind of a gap in understanding of military culture, that there could be challenges around that. So, I mean, I think all of these conversations, just what you're saying, this ripple effect of, you know, these conversations are so important, and, you know, why we're so grateful that people are joining us. But I wanted to share just really quickly before we sign off, in our celebration of Month of the Military Child, next week we'll be talking to another community partner. We'll be talking with the USO, who we have partnered with Kids Rank over the last few years to do a family. It's called the Amazing Family Adventure. And so we're going to be doing some programming with our families on the 10th, but we'll have Chris from the USO on next Thursday talking about how they have really done such a great job through the pandemic and before the pandemic, but in providing programming for military families here in Illinois, and, you know, maybe a little outside the context that most people think of when they think of the USO. So we're excited to have them join us. And then April 15th, we'll have a panel discussion of military children that span from Vietnam era through current to hear about. Yeah, super excited. Actually, the panel is going to be moderated by a military child who's an adult now, Erica Bauer she's with the Chicago Bulls organization. And so she herself was a military child and traveled all over the world with her family. And so having her lead the conversation will be really great, and hearing those perspectives over time, I think will be really powerful to learn what's, you know, been and what is still going on as challenges, and also, you know, the really wonderful things. You know, I think that, you know, there are a lot of challenges that are faced, and I think that having this month of celebration is so special, because there are really a lot of wonderful things that military families go through, and they really enrich communities that they move into. I mean, you figure you have children that move all over the world, and they have all these life experiences, and, you know, really get to be exposed to culture and people, and so to be able to bring those into transition to new communities, it's not all bad.
Yeah, that's right. Good point.
And we as an organization, Kids Rank, we really think of it from a strength-based. And I think also, like Sesame, you know, I think people underestimate how amazing children can be and their ability to understand concepts. And so, but given the opportunity, I mean, Brenda, just what you were saying, and in that, you know, you have age appropriately put together things to help them prepare. And because they do understand, you know, in some context, what's going on in their lives. And so to give them the tools that they need to be able to transition more smoothly is just so important. So I thank you for being here today. It just is such a thrill to have you. One last thing that I will say, we do have our virtual 5K that's coming up at it'll be the week of April 10th through the 17th, and we're encouraging families to get out and get moving with us. We actually have some schools that are going to participate in that venture as well. So We're doing a move a mile. So if you have a school, if you're a part of a school or with a school that wants to acknowledge and celebrate military children during Month of the Military Child, as part of our 5K, we're doing a school-based version that the kids will all get, that participate will get stickers that actually one of our military kids in our program designed. So a lot of fun stuff. Yeah, Kayla just shared the link for some stuff that we have coming up, but we are not the only ones. I'm excited. There are a bunch of different webinars that are going on all month. I know MSEC is doing some stuff. I know, there's one that I can't remember the name, and I feel so bad that I'm drawing a blank, that I'm going to be sitting on tomorrow listening in. But there are just so many wonderful things going on this month. And because of COVID, I mean, they're virtual, so you may get to see some things you might not ordinarily have been a part of. So, so it's exciting.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. That's very exciting. Wow.
Yeah.
So yes, Kayla put all those links in the chat, folks. So yeah, check it out, and I will be as well. Very nice. Very exciting.
So if there is nothing else we can gain four minutes back in our lives. So I really want to thank everybody for joining us, your comments, your questions. And I keep saying this, that our Foundations Conversation series is really just the beginning of the conversation. We really want to learn more about where there are, gaps and holes in programs and services for military children. There are already so many wonderful programs and resources already developed, already done. And it just is about connecting people to them.
Right.
So if you know any great resources in your communities that we might not be aware of, we'd love to hear about them. We want to keep having these conversations so that, we can just continue to just what Brenda said, that ripple effect, and spread and share as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you to my team, Meryl, Ashley, Kayla, for helping out. Thank you to Sesame team that's on with us today. And we will see you uncharacteristically. We're doing 3 foundation sessions this month because we're celebrating. So
yay.
Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor. Thank you.